I see it as absolutely fantastic handmade original art. The facial expressions, the designs of the pipes, the way that the bongs are brought into the picture by giving your personality some life. See, you can elevate your personal experience at highendpottery.com. High, H-I, endpottery.com. All high-end products are one-of-a-kind functional art pieces. Two hitters, pipes, bongs, and bubbles, wake and bakes. highendpottery.com. Don't forget that dash now, all right? You must be 21 to purchase. Also, don't forget, let them know that we talked about this. Say, Arrow told me about this, and they're going to take care of the shipping and handling. Endpottery.com. Hey, it's Arrow, and this is Played Forward. A look at the unexpected changes endured by the entertainers, writers, camera people, and all others affected, but not infected by the global invasion of the coronavirus. These are real people, real stories, the struggle to play it forward. Episode number 125, Madelyn Deutch, writer, director, musician, actor, and film photographer from Los Angeles, beginning first in music. She attended Los Angeles County High School for the Arts as a vocalist and received a BFA at the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music on scholarship. She then turned much of her focus to filmmaking, acting in films like 50 to 1 and her brand new one, Teenage Badass. Plus, Madelyn made a mark in the miniseries Texas Rising and Cinemax's Outcast.
Hi, Arrow. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Fantastic. Just sitting down here in the South right now with this tropical storm Sally marching by.
Oh, my gosh. I hope everything goes okay. I mean, we got the fires over here in California. You got the storms. It's too much.
We need to get together somehow and get some water to you guys so that you can put out those fires.
Oh, my God. Let's switch.
As a writer and a creative person, when you're in a moment like you guys are out in California, those creative juices have got to be going inside your mind, body, and soul in the way that, because that's what creative energy is. It'll take a moment and become something as a writer or as an actor.
Sure. I mean, I think that, this movie, Teenage Badass, that I was in that's coming out tomorrow, I think, that's why I loved making this movie so much, and why I like being a part of it and why I love the way it turned out is because everybody that was involved in the film is kind of a multi-hyphenate. There was so much music, there was so much photography, there was so much art, creativity, great conversations happening the whole time, and the movie reflects that. It feels just like this warm, beautiful little package of just art and color and texture, and it was amazing to be a part of.
I'm glad you brought up the texture in it because it does have that about it in the way that it was almost like I was reading a Rolling Stone magazine and that I was watching the history of a band coming together and all that kind of stuff and the struggles of the ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I really love about the movie is it doesn't feel like your typical big budget, rock star movie. We don't follow these guys to some, very quick and not really believable level of fame that happens in the second act of the movie. You know what I mean? It's about them playing in their rehearsing in their living room and going to the bar and, being idiots and dating girls. And, it feels to me a lot more slice of life than a lot of band movies do. And I love that about it. Yeah, because it really does. It kind of it really brings forward what it's like to be a part of a garage band. Because when you play in the garage or you play in your living room and stuff like that, and going out to the bars and having those performances, because to me that's where the real art of connection begins, is at that bar, because they're either listening or they're ignoring. Yeah, I love that you say that. I mean, Grant McCord, the writer and director, he worked for a long time as a drummer, and so he just got it. He brought all the detail and the specificity of the world to the movie in a way that I don't think a lot of directors of sort of music movies do. And so it just makes it feel more real. When you just gave me a picture here when you were talking about making it real in the way that, do you realize that this movie is probably the only live concert that people are going to get right now and we've had this year? I mean, because you give us the performance and everything like that in this movie, and it's this is like being at a concert. I know. Well, and the star of the movie, or one of the stars of the movie, he wrote all the music. So it's it feels
kind of deeply, deeply authentic. And a lot of the music was written even before we shot the film. So it's like, it does feel live in an interesting way. I mean, so, you know, if you miss going to see live music, if you miss seeing like great rock bands, I mean, this movie is definitely for you. And like, if you just listen to it really, really loud, it might scratch that itch a little bit.
Now, what was that like? Because you know how movies have been lately. They all go out there and get all the music that everybody is familiar with, so they can make a connection. But you're doing all new music. You're formulating your own soundtrack here.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, I came in way later in the process. I, you know, acted in it, and but once I stepped on set and kind of like started to hear the music that they had already written and recorded, I was just like, oh man, they did it right. They totally did it right. Bob Hogue, who's an amazing producer in the Arizona area, he just went full nerd on it. Like, they recorded so much tape and all these amazing kind of old synths, and they recorded on all the best mics. You know, for anyone who's like a music nerd, this movie is like really perfect for you. It's all about the specificity of the world. It's all about how much musicians love to make music, and, you know, at what cost.
And you know, those music nerds are going to be watching this thing religiously in the way that they're going to sit there and try to figure out if any of that was recorded. You know, in other words, when they're singing, was it piped in, or were they actually singing like what we got from Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper? You know, it's one of those where it's like, did they capture those moments, and is that the real live moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know how much of it they, you know, recorded while we were shooting, like how much of it was like, I don't even have a good answer for that. But what I can say is that it doesn't take you out of it. I think sometimes when you watch a music movie, it's like you can see almost the actor basically wink at the camera and then take a really deep breath and then begin the song. You know, this is so not like that. You slide into the world with, it's very like effortless, and that's really to the credit of the filmmakers and the actors for like caring. You know, they rehearsed the music so much. They played together as a band so that they were like, oh, we're not going to feel like we're faking it, you know, when we're shooting. So to me, the movie feels incredibly authentic. It's really fun to watch. How
many people have come up to you and said, you know, this movie's got a vibe about it. It's called Teenage Badass, but it's got a vibe on it that's almost like that movie, Almost Famous, which by the way, is still in people's lives. So Teenage Badass is going to be, oh my God, it's going to be sticking around as well.
We hope so. I really love this movie. You know, it was in the competition at South by Southwest, which didn't happen this year because of COVID, but like, it just goes to show you, like, I think only 10 movies get into the, you know, narrative competition at South by. The independent movie scene is so competitive, and so, you know, for me, it's like, it just goes to show people really responded, you know, and I hope that viewers do. It's like, it's a special little gem of a movie, and I've made a lot of little movies before, so I don't say that about all of them.
Yeah, but even the little movies, aren't they the fun ones as well? They're usually the most memorable ones because you can cut loose a little bit more.
I gotta say, it really depends. It really depends. It's like going away to summer camp and people are like, the rules don't apply, woo! You know, and sometimes it's a blast and you meet people that are your lifelong friends and collaborators, and sometimes it's like who let the inmates out of the cell. Like, you're like, no one should have let these people make a movie. This was not that. This was like professional, creative, brilliant minds all coming together and collaborating in a way that felt inspiring. So I feel blessed that I got to do it.
Now, you know, during these COVID-19 days, a lot of these musicians and stuff are doing private concerts on Zoom and things. Yeah. Will we see anything with Stylo and the Murder Dogs in a way that they can get together and do a concert for fans?
Oh my God, I think I need to pitch that to the stars of the movie. They would totally do that. I don't play any music in the movie, so, you know, listen, I can't take that mantle, but I'm going to pitch it for you to them. Let's see what we can get going.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that, Madelyn, is that you, even though you don't play the music, just to see you on that camera, we're all going to go, oh my God, they're all together.
I know. I'll be in the background dancing, or I'll get some pom-poms and I'll cheerlead.
Oh, my God. You know, when they came up with the name Stylo and the Murder Dogs, I got to tell you, that was a relatable moment. You guys are going to get a lot of emails from fans of music, because those moments where you're trying to decide what the name of your band is going to be. I mean, our band was Rest in Peace. We were RIP. But it took forever and a day because we were going to be Paradise. We were going to be all these different things.
Wait, that's genius. I love that. That is my favorite scene in the movie. There's this really long, great shot. Just our DP, Andrick, was genius, and he got the operator to just like walk around us in a circle over and over and over and over again for hours while we like improv'd about the name of the band. That's like my favorite scene in the movie. I've been there too when I worked in music, just like the weeks on end trying to come up with a name. It's just ridiculous.
It's like coming up with a name for Facebook. I better just put my real name on there. Dang it.
Yeah, no, I know. I think by the end of it, you're just like, I don't even care anymore.
Well, you know, making music what you did in your early days, and then to come from music and then into acting, what was that transition like? Because, I mean, a script is not a script, and lyrics aren't just lyrics. I mean, you know how to bring things forward in a way that makes that connection.
Well, you're very kind to say that. I mean, you actually hit the nail on the head. For me, you know, the thing I always say is, like, when I worked as a musician, when I would write songs, it was always like I had too many words in my lyrics. Like, my lyrics were too long, my songs were too long, my lyrics were too involved and kind of intricate. They didn't get to the point. So when I started writing screenplays, I was like, oh, I get it now. I was doing the wrong format. Like, it just, I for some reason, and this makes no sense to me, I need more page count. I need more time to talk about what I need to say. I think a lot of the time the best songwriters are the people who can, like, get to the point. 'Cause, you know, it's like that get to the chorus before you bore us thing. Like, songwriters just have this ability to, like, cut through to the meat right away. I'm not like that. I'm neurotic. I need time to explain. I need 400 characters. I need 110 pages. You know, those scripts work great for me.
So did you ever have one of those moments where you were in the studio, though, and everything seemed to work out right with music before you got to the studio, but the second you get in there and you get it to a click track, you have to start erasing words. And it's like, man, you can't do that to me. This is what I was feeling in my moment.
Oh, my God, completely. I made a movie called The Year of Spectacular Men. It's on Hulu. It's a movie I'm really proud of that I wrote and that I was in, but I also did the music for it, and like being in the studio scoring that movie was one of the hardest things I've ever done, because it was like every single plan that I brought in, every cue that I had written, every song that I wanted to temp in, every piano line I wanted to play, every single thing changed. Like, it was the lesson in that process was all about just like letting go of the plan and, you know, being open to the process and the change, because scoring an entire movie is just, you can't be precious. Like, it just all ends up shifting.
So when you give so much of your creative energy away like that, there's a thing that I truly do trust, and I've been trying to really get the word out there about it. Creative people go through these episodes of what I call post-production blues. When you give so much of yourself away like that, I can't imagine the valleys that you went into.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I get more depressed. We're getting serious. You can bill my insurance for this therapy session. I get more kind of depressed with the creative process when I'm in the middle of it, less when I've finished. Because when I've finished, even if it's terrible, I can pat myself on the back and be like, "But you finished." Do you know what I mean? Like, the completion is enough to be like, "All right, I'm proud of getting to the end." It's more like the second act blues. It's like when you're in the middle of the song, when you're in the middle of the script, you know, when you're in the middle of the project. That to me is always the hardest.
And yet Joe Elliott from Def Leppard will sit there and say, "Arrow, the song is never done. We're always inventing the song every night we hit the stage."
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It's like that. What's that famous quote that it's like, movies are never finished, only abandoned? You know, it's like nothing is ever truly done. I think if you're lucky, you surround yourself with people who can be like, you need to stop now and have a boundary. But it's, you know, creativity is not, creativity is is not finite. It doesn't just stop. You continue to have thoughts about and as you grow as a person, you're like, oh, maybe that changes in the story. Maybe that changes in the song. So I totally agree.
So now how did you hone into that creative energy, though, during these COVID days? I mean, for me, I went into the kitchen. I was creative with everything that was going on in the kitchen. So what did you have to do?
Did you make your own sourdough starter? Because I did.
Oh, no, I've been invading and trying to invent all these different soups. The whole world needs to be doing soup.
Oh, cool. Cool. I love, oh, man, my sister Zoe, she's a great actress. She's a soup fiend. She's been also making a lot of soup during COVID. But, yeah, I cook a lot as well. That's so funny that you say that. I've been cooking a ton. I've also honestly been so lucky. I've been working as a writer mostly throughout this time, so I've been busy working on other, screenplays and projects like that. And I feel so blessed that I am a writer because nothing else is required except my own insane brain and my weird office that I never leave. I don't need the outside world to do that. So I've continued to work. I'm so lucky.
Now, how much of that daily writing is into creating a journal? Because I've been writing a journal for 26 years, and then I do a defrag journal now, which is where you take the day and you break down the day, and you have a conversation with yourself. Being a creative person, you get into those moments.
I love that. That's so inspiring. I hope you tell your listeners to do that, because that is such a great practice. I'm actually, because I write a lot and I totally relate to what you're saying, I'm always scandalized by all the people that I know and love who never put pen to paper, because it doesn't need to be good. It's just I think the act of journaling is extremely therapeutic and helpful. So I'm totally with you. I do a number of different things, but lately my quote unquote writing process is me wearing a weird set of pajamas and a Snuggie and eating Cheerios 3 meals a day and not answering the phone. I turn into a wild animal when I write. It's not that cute.
Do you have a favorite writing instrument? Mine is I have a John Lennon Mont Blanc, and it's such a cherished thing in my heart.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so wait, you're inspiring me. I feel like I need to. This goes to show you how deranged I am when I'm writing in the middle of a project. To me, the height of luxury when I'm writing is to go to CVS and buy myself some new ballpoint pens. I think I need to up my game slightly.
Yeah, but those fresh ballpoint pens, if it's a roller ball, I'll do that. But the only problem is that I'll spend the next 20 days in fear that I'm going to run out of ink, because the roller ball, you can't tell.
Yeah. I totally know what you're saying. I like when this is so nerdy. Holy crap. That little window where you can see that you're using, how much ink you're using on the pen. That is probably the lamest thing I've ever said in my whole life. I like the window on the pen so I can see how much ink I'm using. It's crazy. I regret this moment.
That's the reason why I created the iHeartRadio show. It's called View from the Writing Instrument, because it gives authors and writers an opportunity to let listeners know how real you are.
Oh yeah, it's so cool. I love that. And one thing that I hate in media, in film and television is and actually this is one thing that this movie Teenage Badass did really well, is where it shows the writing process it's some kind of magical glittering cloud that just shakes itself over your head and you're covered in twinkling stars of inspiration. It's no, writing is awful. It's it's like I said, it's Snuggies and Cheerios and hell, and you're sitting there I am never going to get through that. It's so much of it is being in a tunnel and not seeing the light at the end of it. And so, I love that you do that. I think that's so cool and so much more kind of a realistic portrait.
Well, even with songwriting, it's amazing, and I wish that listeners could experience it when a song is really coming together, because you may have a guitar riff or you may be doing something with a bass beat, and then with vocals you're going, you're not even singing any words, but you're trying to get the melody down.
Oh, yeah. I was listening to an episode of Armchair Expert that John Legend was on, and he was talking about, and I love that he said this because I studied jazz for a lot of years, but he was the way that I come up with melodies is I just kind of scat. I sort of am just singing gibberish and kind of scatting and singing like an instrument, and then slowly, eventually, I come up with some kind of melody and some kind of lyric. But I love that because it demystifies the process. Things do not creativity does not come out cute. It comes out like it's a mess. All the time.
Don't you love Dax Shepard? I love Armchair. Oh my God, that show! I learned so much because that guy, as big as he is, he's still one of us.
Oh my God, I love him. I'm so obsessed with him. I was not into podcasts for the longest time, but I'm like a religious devotee of Armchair Expert just because I love how he gets in there right away. There's no kind of surface. It's all about the real, and he does the deep dive. And, I just think it's a great service to society to try to have honest conversations with people.
Well, especially when he sits there and he says, yeah, I was into drugs, and I'll tell you, I was having a good time, but I just know that it was wrong. I just love how honest he is. I'm going, dude, you're being way too transparent here.
No, I love him. I think one of the great kind of myths, one of the great lies that we tell ourselves as human beings is that we should present as the perfect version of ourselves, and that actually that doesn't lead you to connection with other people. That doesn't lead you to discovery. It doesn't lead you to inspiration, or it certainly doesn't make you grow. I know for me, I'll pretty much do anything to avoid being vulnerable because we're sort of sold this lie as kids that we need to present well. We need to present correctly. Look, me and you, we're having this conversation right now going, God, we love that guy's so vulnerable. And yet nobody does it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be vulnerable. Hell no, right? I'm like, oh God, what can I do to avoid that?
That's so interesting you bring that up because I'm studying the book. It's called Subconscious Power, and what it is, they say that our subconscious goes away at the age of 8 because that's when teachers and leaders start shaping us, and that the goal is to get back to the subconscious because it is the go-getter, it is the chance taker, and the one that can really put the fuel in your fire.
I love that you say that. Oh my God, because I'm working. I'm writing a film right now that's all about returning to the values that you have as a child. This idea that everybody feels differently about this, but as an adult, I've come to believe that you kind of come into the world with a lot of these values that are really close to who you are as a person, and then they kind of get beat out of you as you go through puberty and adolescence and your teenage years and your early 20s, and then there's this weird moment that happens where you're like, oh no, what happened to who I really am? How do I get back there, right? And so I love that you say that. There's a lot of that in this movie as well, in Teenage Badass, about the kind of authentic return to self, which, it probably is the journey we're all on, but, we get distracted and we got to pay rent, and,
It absolutely is that, because those that are going to watch it are going to go back to those days when they were in their bedrooms, trying to get away from mom and dad. And it's you put the earphones on, or you had a pig nose amplifier, and you would just sit there and you'd play the music so you could tune the world out. And that's what I love about Teenage Badass, is it's taking us back.
I had a pig nose.
No, you did not.
No.
I
had one. I loved that stupid amp. I had a lofted bed in college, and I would put it on the steps of my loft and sit there and try to learn guitar on my. I wanted to on the low be Frank Zappa, and he always played with a pig nose. Yeah. I just wanted to be Frank Zappa.
Well, don't you think that the movie Teenage Badass is actually going to inspire a lot of closeted musicians? And you know who those guys are? They're the hiders. They're the ones that kind of do it part-time, or they do it as a hobby. But this is going to get them to come out of the closet.
I hope so. I think, I think social media can be kind of overwhelmingly terrible, but one sort of, I guess, benefit of social media is that it really allows you to sort of share directly with people. And I know that it's really done that with music. It's it used to be that if you sort of played music on the side, it was well, how do I share music with people? And it's now you can just you just can. There's not a whole lot of barrier to entry, So yeah, I hope that it inspires young people to share their music more. I know I certainly got really inspired making the movie. We did it with so many amazing filmmakers and artists. Grant McCord, the writer and director, he worked as a musician for a really long time as well. And everyone was just a multi-hyphenate and was sharing all the time. We were all shooting film photography, the whole time. Everyone had a camera. Everyone was writing music. Everyone was acting. Everyone was just talking about creativity. And I think everyone should nurture. This sounds so Pollyanna, but like, I wish everyone could nurture their creativity more and not just think that it's a special thing reserved for like artists. I think everybody on earth is creative in their own way. I know that sounds really Pollyanna.
One of the things that I talk about on iHeartRadio every day is I always tell people creativity is not just one of those things that musicians do, that we are in a place in history where creativity is valuable because businesses cannot succeed without creativity, and you need to sharpen your skills and become creative.
Totally. And it's it's a practice every day. It's just practice makes perfect. You gotta do it all the time. But it's worth it. It's worth it because then you get things, like this movie that are completely, I love this thing. My mom, she's a wonderful actress, Leah Thompson. She has been in the business forever. And this one thing that she always says to me is that movies are like one of the only things in this life that are like completely handmade. You know what I mean? Like every single person stitched every corner of it and touched it and made decisions about it, and so like this movie in particular, it's like completely handmade. It's so authentically creative and personal, and that's why I'm really like proud to be a part of it.
Well, congratulations on this movie. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you, Madelyn.
Oh, my God, you're so kind. Thank you for talking to me. I so appreciate you taking the time, and good luck with the storm. I'm so sorry. It's such a brutal
You be
time.
safe out there with those fires and a pandemic. Holy cow. Be brilliant today. Be brilliant.
I know. Stay safe. Thanks again. I so appreciate it.
That's Play It Forward. You can hear other conversations just like this one on all 3 of my podcasts, Like It's Live, Unplugged and Totally Uncut, and View from the Writing Instrument, all found on every digital platform.